All right, this is for Algebra 2, or Algebra 1, Semester 2, and it's sections 10.3 through 10.5. We're going to divide rational expressions first. And yesterday, our 10.1 and 10.2 were about reducing them and multiplying them. And it's very similar to your rules for fractions. When you divide a fraction, you bring down the first fraction. You change the division sign to a multiplication sign, and you flip the second one around. You do the reciprocal. And now you can follow the same steps as the last section and just cross-cancel and get your answer. Multiply cross. 3 can go into 9 3 times. 2 can go into 8 4 times. You can reduce 2 ends off the bottom and 2 ends off the top. That's going to leave you with 3 ends on the top. So you're left with a 4 times a 3, which is 12, and n to the third power, over 1 times 1, which is 1. So just 12 n to the third power would be your answer. So example 2, you're going to have 2x plus 8 over 3, which you could take out a 2 from and put x plus 4, factor that. You're going to bring this down as a times, and you're going to flip this one around to 9 over x plus 4. The x plus 4s can cancel, and 3 goes into 9 3 times. So your answer is simply a 6. 2 here times a 3 here gives me a 6. We are going to, and you could also, shorten it up a little bit by just putting this into a dot and then rewriting this one the other direction, where you flip it around. And now you can multiply across, so x plus 1 will actually cancel out. So your answer is just going to be x plus 3 over x plus 2. And then number 4, you're going to need to factor this bottom one, x plus 1 and x minus 1. It is a difference of 2 squared, so you can cross it out once it's factored. You're going to change this to multiplication, and you're going to bring this one to the bottom. That one's at the bottom. You're going to bring this one to the top, but you should factor it first. So you're going to put a 1 and a negative 2. Multiply to give you 1, add it to negative 2 would be negative 1 and negative 1. So you're going to get x minus 1 and another x minus 1. That's factored. So let's see what we can cross out. There's an x plus 1 here, and there's an x plus 1 there. There's an x minus 1 here, there's an x minus 1 up there. So on the top, you're going to be left with x minus 1. On the bottom, you're going to be left with x plus 1. Cannot reduce the x's. Remember, these are in a parentheses. They're connected. Can't reduce the x's. Leave it as is. Now, adding them, that was division. So now addition with the same denominator is very simple because you're just going to add the top numbers. So you're going to add 4m and 5m together. Those are like terms. You get 9m. Keep your denominator as a 3. Here you can reduce. So your answer is just 3m. Keep your denominator. When the denominators are the same, you keep the denominator. Combine any like terms you see, you get 10a squared. That one's actually done. Again, you have the same denominator, you keep that denominator. Find like terms. You're going to get 3x squared. You're going to get 4x's. And then you're going to end up with negative 15. And you should try to factor any trinomials with a star. So 3 times negative 15 is negative 45. And then 4 on the bottom, we need 3x and 3x. Multiply to give us negative 45, add up to 4 would be 9 and negative 5. Reduce that to a 1 and a 3. So x plus 3 and 3x minus 5. So you get rid of that, and That would be your answer. So x plus 3 times x, 3x minus 5 over 2x plus 1. You could have left it like that. It wouldn't have been wrong. It would just be better reduced if you factor it. Take a look at the bottom one. Again, with common denominator, that makes it nice for us. 3a's plus 7a's is 10a's, and you keep your denominator as a 4. Reduce this by 2, get a 2 and a 5, so you get 5a over 2. You're going to keep your denominator of x plus 4. Combine your top numbers, you get 10x squared. 8x squared and 2 more x squared would equal 10x squared. Here you should factor this top part. And you're going to get, let's see, let's just combine like terms first. Let's do x plus, or x minus 7 on the bottom, and x squared. There is no like term for that, but there is like terms here. Minus 3x. Got to subtract those two because they're different. And then we're going to combine those two. They're both negative, so do negative 28. Now let's try the star. Negative 28 and a negative 3. So I'm thinking a 7, negative 7, and a positive 4. So x minus 7 and x plus 4. And the x minus 7s will cancel out. So all you're going to have left is x plus 4. So that letter C was just x plus 4. That was section 10.4. Now 10.5 is when you don't have a common denominator and you need a common denominator. So in this case, you have an x squared and an x, and you got to find out what would be a good common denominator, and in this case, it would be x squared. You got to be looking at the bigger number as possible denominator. This is already x squared, but this one you're going to need to multiply by x so that you would get x squared. So you're going to get a 3 plus a 6x over the x squared, and that would be done. Now, if you notice, this one has two different parentheses. A common denominator is always when you multiply the two together. So I could put x plus 1 times x minus 1 as a common denominator. The top one is going to need the x minus 1, or the first one, x minus 1 over x minus 1. You're going to need to get this denominator, you're going to need to multiply top and bottom by x minus 1. This fraction, you're going to need to multiply by x plus 1 to get the common denominator. So distribute here, we'll get 3x minus 3. Distribute here, plus 5x plus 5. Combine your like terms. So you'll have 8x and plus 2 over x plus 1, x minus 1 is your common denominator. So when the two denominators are just different parentheses, you just have to multiply them together to get the common one. This one, your common denominator would be 3x. Multiply this by x, multiply this one by 3. That'll give you 3x here and 3x here. You're going to get a 2x squared, and you're going to get 18. Now that could actually be reduced. You could take a 2 out of those. That's going to give you x squared plus 9 over 3x. So that would be a better reduced fraction. 6 does not go into 16. You could multiply them together and get 16 times 6. 96 would be a common denominator. There might be a smaller one. 16 times 2 is 32. 6 doesn't go into that. 48 is actually a good common denominator. That's 16 times 3, and that's 6 times 8. So you're going to end up with 56x squared plus 9x over 48. This is like the example 2 up here, this next one, letter C. You need a common denominator of x minus 2, x plus 2. You need to multiply this first fraction by x plus 2 on top and bottom. You need to multiply this one by x minus 2 on top and bottom. So you'll get x squared plus 2x. That would be the x squared here and the 2x here. And then you multiply, you get 4x and you get a minus 8. Plus 4x minus 8. Combine your like terms. So you get x squared plus 6x minus 8 all over x minus 2, x plus. That's as far as you could get on that one. That's when you do not have a common denominator. Subtraction is the same. You need to get a common denominator. So here we're going to need to get a common denominator of x minus 4 and x plus 4. So this fraction, you're going to need to do the x plus 4 on top and bottom. You need this denominator over here. This denominator is going to go on this side. So you're actually going to need to do FOIL, if you remember. First, outside, inside, and last. So it's going to be a very large numerator here. You're going to get x squared. You get 2x and 4x, which is going to be 6x, and plus 8. And then over here, now this is the tricky part, you've got to distribute this. So you've got to give yourself a negative x and a negative 1. You're going to get negative x squared. You're going to get a positive 4x and a negative 1x, which is going to be a positive 3x. Because the negative x times negative 4 gave me a positive 4x. And the negative 1 times x gave me the negative 1x. That's how I got this 3x right here. And the negative 1 times negative 4 is a positive 4. Just combine any like terms. These x squareds will cancel out. 6x and 3x is 9x. 8 and 4 is 12. Over x minus 4, x plus 4. And you could actually take a 3 out of those, because there's a common factor of a 3. You'll end up with 3x plus 4. That would be a little bit more reduced fraction. And when there's a whole number, you could always put a 1 under it. So you could just multiply by x plus 4 on the top and bottom, so that you'll have a common denominator of x plus 4. So here you'll have 3x plus 12, and here you have a negative 3. So combine those. 3x plus 9, you got to subtract those because they're different. X plus 4, and then take a 3 out. Take a 3 out of there, you'll have 3 parentheses x plus 3 over x plus 4. So that's when you have two fractions that do not have the same denominator. And then here are a couple left, just to practice. You need to I think we need a 5x squared for this denominator. So you're going to multiply by x to get your 5x squared. Here you're going to multiply by 5. So you're going to get your 4x and a negative 5. These two are going to be together on the bottom. 2x plus 1, 2x minus 1. So I need to multiply this fraction by the 2x minus 1 on top and bottom to get this denominator. We got to distribute. You get 6x minus 3. And then we need to multiply this fraction by the 2x plus 1, by this denominator. So we're going to take the negative 2 and distribute it. Negative 4x and then minus 2. Combine like terms to get 2x get negative 5, 2x plus 1, and 2x minus 1. You could always pause the video at any time when you're behind. Catch up. Now let's see, the 6 we're going to put a 1 under, and we're going to multiply it by t minus 2 on top and bottom. Just know that when I did this, it was top and bottom. I just didn't show the bottom one. So we need to distribute the 6. The bottom is going to be t minus 2. 6t minus 12, and then minus 1. So 6t minus 13 over t minus 2. And it's a whole number, it's not too bad. Because you just need to multiply by this denominator to get the common denominator. All right, the rest of them are for you to practice. This whole thing right here you should be able to do just based on the examples and then pages that you have. So good luck.